Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 21 of Omnifactory. Let's start by checking on the status of our Neutronium. 45, that's good enough. So it's been about 24 hours since I recorded the previous episode. I got a lot less than I expected, for one, because the lag's gotten worse. Can't wait for that creative tank so we can tear down, many of these systems. But also because it ran out of fuel about partway through. Remember when we first started it up, I only put like 3 stacks of fuel in there? Well, I forgot to refuel it before the night, so it actually didn't run at all overnight. Whoopsies. But anyways, 45 is enough for us to make what we want to do for now, and that is the Chaotic Here Fusion Injector. So these, I think we should be able to craft 10 of them now. Awesome. Uses a lot of crystal matrix ingots, and I think we're almost out of diamonds. So yeah, we have 2,000 regular diamonds left, 100k diamond dust, and 5k dense diamond ore, which is slowly being processed down. I think this is what, like 32 diamonds per ore? So that's somewhere around 150k diamonds. So we have some diamonds left, but yeah, we're gonna need more. Or hope that this can last us until the creative tank. Let's actually see, how many crystal matrices do we have? 327, yikes. Because we need one of these. Anyways, let's take things one step at a time. So right now this should be making our fusion injectors. What's wrong here? It looks like it started 2 recipes at once. Oh, wait. Oh, I forgot to set you on blocking mode. I had to add another interface, but I forgot to put it on blocking mode. So let me fix that, and I'll be right back. Alright, let's try that again. 10 fusion injectors, and it's still not on blocking mode. What? Oh, I hit the wrong... Oh, bleh, be right back. Alright, let's try that one more time. So this time let's actually put it on blocking mode and not hide on terminal mode. And get 10 of these. So we should see one. Well, it's making these dislocators to make warp engines right now. Remember, I have our system set up to basically always be crafting microminers for us, because we're going to need a lot of those tier 7, 8, etc. microminers. Well, the request went through. I guess we'll see in a minute whether or not it actually works. While that goes, let's check on our Omnium production. 864. So that's almost at our threshold of 1,000. So turns out our base produces about 900 Omnium a day. It's not bad. I set up a crafting calculator. Somewhere. Oh, it's in my inventory already. To estimate the total cost of launching a tier 10 microminer. And this doesn't include the cost of some things like the infrastructure to actually, like the fusion injectors. But the cost of a Heart of the Universe, which is, what the tier 10 microminer gets you, is essentially, there's a tier 9 microminer in there, a small amount of Awakened Draconium. It's not quite as bad as I expected. The nasty one is that it takes 120 Neutronium ingots, and turns out only about 500 Omnium. So we might even have enough Omnium and I can turn off that machine, but I'm going to let it run anyways. It also takes a single tier 9 microminer. Besides that though, nothing really stands out too much. So we just have to figure out a way to make 120 Neutronium ingots and 44 more Chaos Shards. Alright, so seeing as how we need 120 Neutronium and I made about 40 in a day, although it would be about 80 if I didn't forget to fuel our machine, I think I need to make a second fusion reactor. So let me throw up another tier 3 fusion reactor so we can have the Neutronium we need in about 1 day's processing time. Alright, our fusion reactor is mostly built, and as you can tell, something is wrong. So I've been getting this graphics glitch recently where some GregTech tile entities just show up invisible. Like you look here, there's a fluid output hatch here. But yeah. And their item entities are also invisible. And the only way to fix it that I found is to restart my game, but that takes like 5 minutes and it's really annoying. But I'm stuck here waiting for the fusion controller to finish anyways. I guess I'll restart my game now. I'm pretty sure it's related to Optifine, but if I get rid of Optifine, I get 5 FPS, so, what can you do? That tank can't come soon enough. Alright, a second Mark III fusion reactor hooked up and running, also processing Neutronium. So, with this, I hope that by tomorrow we'll have our Neutronium to be able to make the tier 10 Microminer. But before we get there, we have to make the tier 9 Microminer. So let's check on the status of our fusion injectors. 9 of 10. Alright, so we have one more that needs to craft, and it looks like it's crafting. What perfect timing. So once this is done, we can replace the 10 fusion injectors that we have here with these. Let's go ahead and do that. And then we can start working on the tier 9 Microminer. So it seems we're actually getting pretty close to that creative fluid tank. And what I'm thinking is, if I can get that tank finished maybe in tomorrow's episode or the day after, I'll make a world download available at that point, because everything really changes a lot after the creative fluid tank, and I'll be taking down a lot of these systems. Or I, go ahead and delete everything. I think I'll go make a world download available for you guys to see all the systems that I have running here, and copy them if you like, or just play around with this world. Now, it is very laggy. If you take a look, I'm not playing on a very, it's not like a brand new system, but it's not like a potato laptop either. So if you are playing on a laptop, you might have a hard time loading this world. If that's the case, I'm sorry. I don't think there's much I can do about it. But anyways, we've placed all these. Did I set them to single mode? It looks like I did. Cool. So let's turn this back on and let it continue to craft. Now, upgrading the tiers doesn't make it craft any faster. It's kind of like upgrading the coils in your blast furnace. It just allows it to handle more recipes. So while crafting these things, it takes the same amount of time, but we can now have access to the recipes that require chaotic tier. And specifically, I'm looking at, in the tier 9 Microminer, the Reactor Stabilizer requires chaotic tier, and I think the core might as well. No, it doesn't. So, looking at the tier 9 Microminer, the Reactor Stabilizer is normally a component in the Draconic Evolution, their big explodey reactor. We're not going to build the reactor. It's way too expensive, and it only produces like 2 million RF a tick if you run it on a razor's edge. But 2 million RF a tick is like 300 solar panels, right? I'll build 300 solar panels instead. So, let's take a look at what it'll take to build the tier 9. Well, let's take a look at what the tier 9 Microminer is for. We can use them to get Neutronium nuggets, and it's 9 stacks of nuggets, so 1 stack of ingots per, but they take like 20 odd Neutronium to make, so you don't really, you don't net that much Neutronium. Still, if we find ourselves close, I might launch one to get the last bit of Neutronium we need to hit the tank. So the plating, this is one of the trickier platings to make. It has to be made in a blast furnace. It's made from awakened Draconium plate, and these two things are basically free, with a bucket of krypton gas. So let's see how much krypton we have. Well, that's not good. We have 0 krypton. Is that really true? If that's the case, I have to make our Omnium system no longer use up our krypton. Yeah, one of these was supposed to hold krypton. So it looks like we used all of our krypton. Let me, here, I'll show you where it all went, and then we'll turn that system off for now. So krypton is one of these. Solidified krypton. So it went into here to make Omnium, but I guess we used all that we had banked. So that's turned off now, so krypton will no longer be sent into here, and we only need like 30 buckets of it, I think, so I think we'll still be fine. Anyways, back to here. So it uses a bucket of krypton gas and an awakened Draconium plate. And how many of these do we need? So like 33, I think. I probably miscounted. I'll count again off camera, but around 30-ish. So once we get 30 buckets of krypton, that'll be set. Universal Navigator is Naquata alloy, that's fine. Neural processing units, we make these already. These take a long time to make, but well, they take a lot of wetware stuff, but it's automated, I guess. Even if it takes a while, the automation takes care of it. And a tier 9 circuit. But again, we can make these. It takes a while. It takes 8 of these. So it takes 16 of these, 32 circuits. But we can make them. So that's not too bad. Next, the ultimate voltage field generator. This is a lot of stuff. But let's see. So 6 neutronium there and a neutronium frame. And 6 more neutronium. Yikes, this is going to take a lot of neutronium. Here's 6 circuits. It's a lot of neutronium, but it's not that bad. I estimate maybe like 30 to 40 neutronium. This is just a lot of awakened draconium. This is more awakened draconium and some chaos shards. So it looks like once we put the crafting recipes in and get another 40-ish neutronium, we'll be able to make one of these. Let me register the recipes and I'll let it tell me exactly how much we're missing. Alright, most of the recipes are in the AE system and there's only more or less one thing left, and that is we need 8 more neutronium to make our ultimate voltage field generator and a little bit more to make a gravity star. So the gravity star, I think I'll just make these by hand for now, but that's a quarter of a neutronium ingot and another star. So 1 neutronium gets us 4. I guess I could launch a tier 8 to get some. That's probably not an awful idea. I'd get the gravity star. These 6 xenon to turn into nuggets. It's probably not worth it. What is this? 2 stat? Yeah, that's like 4 neutronium ingots. If you go through the trouble of turning them into ingots. But yeah, maybe I'll launch a mission to get that gravity star. And let's see how much neutronium we have here. 2 more. So I need to wait for 4 more neutronium. I expect that'll be maybe like an hour. So I'll probably just go do something else for an hour while that finishes up. And then I'll come back when hopefully we're ready to make our tier 9 microminer. Alright, it's been 2 seconds for you and about 4 or 5 hours since our last segment for me. So I think we are now ready to build the UV field generator. And I actually already crafted the packages for it just to make sure it would work. So it should be crafting now. As soon as all these components get sucked up into the assembly line. And look at that, it's crafting. So when that's done, we'll be able to make our tier 9 microminer. I hope anyways. So here's our plating. Let's just double check to see what else I might be missing. Just the field generator, perfect. Let's grab all our bits to automate it. We only need 1 for now, but we'll need a lot more after we make the creative tank. And the good news is that I believe it's only made of, 7 different parts with the field generator, so we don't need to use packaged auto this time around. As soon as you're done, 97%. Here you are. All right, let's go grab an interface and set that up. So you put that down, put the recipe in, automation interface, ME interface. Save the recipe, configure you to push up, and plug it all in. and that should craft it. And we should see that we have one tier 9. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. One tier 9 Microminer. Looks pretty sick in the hand, you know? And on the ground. Anyways, that should be a quest. Not that I'm following the quest particularly closely. I guess for whatever reason we hadn't unlocked it yet. Oh well. So the next step then is to launch this. So using this, there's a couple options. We can either get a stack of Neutronium ingots or a universe creation data. And I think actually let's see how our Neutronium situation is doing. 12 more ingots. For a total of 17 and some pile. And I can't turn these into ingots easily. Maybe we should launch it for Neutronium then. Let's see what it'll take to make another one. I'm an idiot. I didn't register the recipe, did I? Well, I guess we're making another one by hand so that I can register the recipe. Whoops. The difficulty is I can't just shift click this in because it doesn't work. So I need a copy of each of the items to put in, and I meant to do that before I crafted it, but now that I already crafted it, I clearly can't do that. So give me a second to investigate if I can make another one. Alright, I ordered up all the components for another tier 9 Microminer. This time hopefully I'll remember to make the pattern before I craft the ship. But let's send this one on its way to get us the one stack of Neutronium ingots. So, off it goes. Oh boy, it looks like this will take a long time. How long are we looking at here? 3,000 ticks? That's what? Minute and a 153, 2.5 minutes? Alright, well, we're not going to wait here 2.5 minutes for it. It'll probably end up being 5 minutes with all the lag I'm having right now. But, let's see. Let's look at what our next step will be then. So, to launch the tier 10 Microminer, well, first we have to build it, obviously, but then we need a universe creation data, which is made by the tier 9 one. I already went ahead and got these stellar creation datas. Basically, each tier 1 Microminer gets 1, so I just launched 4 stacks of them. Not all too bad. So the next thing we have to do then is make the tier 10 Microminer. Good news is, almost everything here is something we already have. So, Universal Navigators, part of tier 9 Microminers. These, part of tier 9 Microminers. These are just tier 5 circuits. The only new components are Neutronium Plating, which has to be made in a blast furnace with Einsteinium and Neutronium plates, but that's not too bad. Sorry for the pings. Be right back, let me fix that. Alright, so anyways, Neutronium heavy plating is just 2 Neutronium ingots effectively. We have to set up a blast furnace with some fluid Einsteinium, but that's not too bad. The other thing is Neutronium solar panels, and these are the tricky part. So each one is made with 4 chaotic cores and 2 blocks of Omnium, which is 81 motes of Omnium, and we need 2 of these. Chaotic cores are each 4 chaos shards, 2 Omnium ingots, some more Neutronium, and a gravity star. So basically this is where the entire cost of the tier 10 Microminer comes from. But that means we're one step away from having the tier 10 Microminer. So let me go ahead and register the recipes for the Neutronium solar panel, and then we can be disappointed by how much Neutronium we're missing to make it. All the components for our second tier 9 Microminer are done, and this time I actually made the recipe for it, so I can have autocrafting take care of it for me. And off it goes. We should see it filling in now. So as this finishes, we'll go back and take a look at the Neutronium solar panels once again and cry ourselves to bed. Alright, here's the moment of truth. All of our solar panel recipes are in here to get us all the way up to Neutronium solar panel. Now these produce 8 million RF a tick, so our first 2 will go into making our tier 10 Microminer so that we can get the creative portable tank through whatever this process is. But our second two will probably power the base. But let's make our first two. I hope we have everything. Ooh, that's good news. So let's see what it takes. 24 chaos shards, 24 neutronium ingots. Let's see. 300 tungsten carbide, that's not bad. 6 gravity stars. Alright, so this wasn't quite as bad as I expected. Have at it. So this crafting will take a little bit because we have to craft a lot of cores of various forms. So I'll come back when it's done. While those solar panels craft, let's look at making the rest of this. So every other component in this microminer, we already make somewhere else. For like all these reactor stuff, and the navigator is from tier 9 microminer. The warp engines are from tier 7 on. I guess the chest we don't make elsewhere, but it's a tier 5 circuit, whatever. So the last thing we have to do is make these heavy platings. By my count, there are 42 of them, so we need 82 neutronium, and we have to make it in a blast furnace. It's not made in a compressor, with Einsteinium and neutronium plates. And also it is a extremely high voltage recipe coming in at the UV tier. Also at extremely high temperature. In fact, only fusion coil blocks reach that temperature. So I have all the components for perhaps our last blast furnace of the pre-creative era, at least. So I'm going to set it up here on our UV line. The only UV line we have running in the base. And then we can start making our heavy plating. These coils look so weird. I don't know, my eyes don't get along with them. Now, normally I would set this up with automation in mind, like put fluid export buses and either interfaces or export buses on them, but this will be perhaps one of the last things we do before we get the creative portable tank, and our workflows will change so much after getting the portable tank that that I think we'll just do this as a one-off, and then when we get the tank, we'll set it up properly to mass produce these heavy platings, because it's very expensive. And doing it with the portable tank will be, with creative fluids will be far, far cheaper. So let's get our 84 neutronium plates. Well, that's unfortunate. We only have 68. Let's launch our tier 9 microminer then and get a bit more neutronium. So I'm going to go do that, and we'll be back when we're ready to make our neutronium heavy plating. Our neutronium solar panels are done. So that's perhaps the hardest part of the tier 10 microminer out of the way. And we have all our neutronium nuggets, so let's turn them into ingots. And then turn 84 of these into plates. I think is that the right type of plate? I hope it is. Oh well, we can turn between them as needed. Yeah, these are the plates that can turn into neutronium heavy plating. So let's get ready to put these into the blast furnace. Again, because this is like the last step before tier 10 microminers, I'm just doing them by hand. So let's see what else we need to order up. 2 universal navigators, 2 reactor cores, 2 stabilizers. 2 of these. 2 of these. And I believe these are extremely expensive, but let's see, 2,000 nether stars. That's a fun price. 20 dragon hearts, that's a lot of awakened draconium. But you know what? It's automated, so I don't care how expensive it is. Those will be the last 2 we make before we get the creative fluid tank. Let's see, 2 warp engines and a level 3 quantum chest. So 2 warp engines. Uh-oh. I've used all of my vibrant crystals. That's concerning. Let's see, where was I making those? One of these machines around here. This one? I've run out of vibrant alloy. Well, what machine was melting that? I didn't run out of... I have plenty of vibrant alloy right here. Device offline. Is it this bug? Yeah, but it's still connected, right? There's a path from here up to here through there. But it's this stupid bug again. Oh well. Soon enough, we'll just create a fluid tank, the vibrant alloy, and it won't matter anymore. So, I guess we need, what, like 10 of these before we can launch our mission? Or before we can craft warp engines? Seven more. We're so close, guys. The finish line is just up ahead. Go, be free. And the last one is Black Hole Quantum Chest 3. Which I didn't put a recipe in for yet. So originally I was planning on finishing the creative portable tank next episode, but it looks like we have enough time left in this one. This episode might go a little long, but I think it's better to just get it done this episode. I'll try to get a world download available, as soon as we make the creative portable tank. And then, next episode we'll start tackling the post-creative era, which everything changes. It's basically like starting over and playing a whole different pack, except you get creative fluid production. So with that, we just have to take our neutronium and turn them into platings. So all 84 are done. Go in here, this is running. And for the last piece of automation we make, it'll be a vanilla hopper. Funny how vanilla, in the end, always gets it done. Alright, so this will make our platings. We've already requested all these other components. They'll take a little while to make in the fusion core, the Draconic Evolution fusion core, so I'll not make you wait for it, but I'll have to wait for it. And in the meantime, let's see if we can launch our last Tier 9 mission to get this universe creation data. So that comes from Tier 9, Awakened Draconium, and Stellar Creation, and 4 stacks of Stellar Creation data. Looks like our Tier 9 isn't even done being made yet. So our Tier 9 has a little bit of work left. And then there's a bunch of crafting left to do. So I'll wait for the crafting to finish. I suspect this might take another hour or so. And at that point, we'll be ready to send our Tier 10 Microminer mission. Be back soon. 1 universe creation data coming right up. And the auto crafting for the last component of our Tier 10 Microminer, the Reactor Stabilizer, is well on its way. There's 113 Wyvern cores left. So I'm kind of regretting the decision not to automate these a little bit more efficiently. These Awakened cores and Draconic Energy cores take a lot of Wyvern cores. But for now, Wyvern cores are somewhat expensive, right? They take a lot of nether stars, a lot of compressed obsidian, whatever. But after we have the creative portable tank, Draconic cores are literally free. Everything here can be made from fluids, so these are, we can basically pump these out for free, which means everything here is made of all fluids except for quartz, right? This is made using quartz. But basically for 162 quartz, we can make a wyvern core. And at that point, I think I'll set up a dedicated fusion crafter whose sole purpose is to make wyvern cores and maybe even multiples, and then have those just run in the background, constantly making wyvern cores, because we will need a lot of these. Anyways, I'll be back when we're ready to make the tier 10 microminer. Alright guys, it's time. This is our very last reactor stabilizer. Once this is done, we can make our tier 10 microminer. So let's go grab that, our last stabilizer. For completeness sake, let's put this recipe in the AE system. We'll need, I don't know, maybe 100 of these by the end of the game. So may as well teach the AE system how to make them, right? And then we need an interface, an automation interface, and a crafting table. Oh, how things have changed since we started this pack. Yeah, look at that. Now let's set up the automation so that we can request these in the future. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I got scared for a second. Alright. To use it, we need our universe creation data and 8 awakened draconium blocks, I believe. That's it. So let's go launch it. In you go. Alright, how long does that take? A while. Well, whatever. I'll let that run while we set up the fluid extractor we need to make creative portable tanks. So to use the Heart of a Universe, you have to fluid extractor it first in a ZPM tier fluid extractor, and then solidify it in a ZPM tier fluid solidifier with a creative portable tank mold. So we have the fluid extractor and the fluid solidifier, we just need the mold. And there's our mold. Let's see, I have a ZPM line somewhere over here. Is it this one? Signalum. I'm looking for Indarium, I believe. Here it is. So an extractor, a solidifier, put this here, set you to auto output. And let's just get a drawer full of these, shall we? So let's go check up on the status of our microminer. I can't wait for this. 27%. Alright, this will take like 5 minutes and I'll be back when it's done. And we're back with the last couple percent to go. In 3%, we'll have completed our first tier 10 microminer mission and have a Heart of the Universe. One more. Alright, let's get our Heart of the Universe. Now if we look at this, when you melt it, you get 288 millibuckets, and when you solidify it, it only takes 144 to make a tank. So we can make 2 tanks, and that's great, right? We have 2 creative portable tanks. But here's a trick. If you make 1 tank and save the other 144 millibuckets, you can put the creative portable tank fluid in the creative portable tank, and then you can make infinite of them. And that sounds a lot more exciting than 2, doesn't it? So let's do that. So this goes in here. That takes a little bit to melt. Let me grab a pipette. Oops. Pipette. And then we'll let this solidify one and save the fluid from the other one. Almost done. Alright, so it's making one, and we'll save the other 144 millibuckets in our pipette. When you do this, definitely do not accidentally make 2 creative portable tanks, or you will be very sad that you have to launch another tier 10 microminer. Any minute now. I feel like a kid in a candy shop, you know? Alright, so here's our first creative portable tank. We can just place it here, fill it with creative portable tank, and set it to auto output. Which, whoops, you don't put it there. I really hope this can pick that up. Good. That would have been really awkward if you could. I guess I could have just moved the machine. Anyways, put that there, set you to auto output. And now we have an infinite amount of creative portable tank. So I think that's a good stopping point now. With the creative portable tank, we have basically creative access to any fluid. So any block that can be made from a fluid is free. Let's take a look at, awakened draconium. Well, we can make it from a fluid. So awakened draconium is now free. Other stuff like the empower blocks, right? All these empowered blocks can be made from a fluid. And given a little bit of time, we will have an infinite supply of these. So next episode, I think we'll do a lot of teardown. A lot of these systems are no longer needed, and maybe we'll get our both our frame rate and our server tick rate back under control. But for now, let me wrap up this episode here. I'll go ahead and make a world download available. I'll put the link to it in the description. It will be for version 1.2.1 of Omnifactory, and you'll have to turn on channels in your applied energistics configuration. So I'll put those instructions in the description along with the link to the world download. And if you want, you can, play around with this world before I blow it up. All right. Well, this has been a fun ride, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.